heart out.
Hey everybody,
Hi.
I'm Kayla Ogden,
And I'm Rachel Sear.
and this is Write Your Heart Out.
Here we are.
And today we're doing a story time. This is based on the prompts that we chose for the Reedsy competition. They have a competition called, I think, Prompted, where every week you choose from a prompt, you submit your short story, and then if it gets chosen to win, you win $250. And you also maybe get published in their magazine.
First, we have to remind them of what our prompts were.
Yeah.
Okay, but then also, we didn't have a lot of very great things to say about Reedsy in the...
No. So you, the listener, you would have just listened to an episode where we detail, our experience with trying to submit these stories to Reedsy. Did either of us actually? I didn't submit mine.
I did not submit mine.
Okay. So you've learned, or if you go back to the last episode, you'll learn why we didn't actually end up submitting.
Right.
And so we didn't win. Because we never tried.
We didn't win.
But we did right.
We didn't have a chance to win, You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
But I didn't want to shoot at that basket.
No.
So we learned a little bit more about the competition, the contest, and we ended up, you'll see if you listen to the last episode. But we still wrote our hearts out. We wrote these things, and I like what I wrote. Did you like what you wrote?
I did like what I wrote, and I like what you wrote. I'm excited to hear it.
Okay, so my prompt that I ended up choosing in the end was a sentence that I had to include. It's in here somewhere. It's something like, I felt like I couldn't control myself. Oh, actually, you know what? It's funny. I took that out.
Well, once you knew you weren't going to submit anymore, like, fuck it,
Yeah, but basically, I had just shoved in there the prompt, the line. It was as if I had no control over myself or something like that.
Right.
So it was in there, but I don't know. I didn't really like it, so I ended up taking it out. And then my story is called The Muse. This episode is going to be a little bit like an audiobook listen kind of thing, less chat, more just hearing stories. You'll hear my story, then Rachel's story, and then we got our first listener submission.
It's so exciting.
Somebody called our phone number.
And they left us a voicemail, which is so awesome. And so you'll get to hear their voice reading their poem. And we haven't heard it yet, so we'll be all hearing it for the first time together, which is very exciting.
Yes, and if you would like to submit a short story or a poem for us to read on the pod, you can call us at 650-260-4885. Or you can email us at contact@writeyourheartoutpod.com. And if we like it, we will read it on the pod.
Yeah, or maybe if we really hate it, we'll read it on the pod.
Yeah, maybe we'll rip your heart out. We could rename it Rip Your Heart Out.
Maybe there'll be a Rip Your Heart Out episode every once in a while.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, if you want to submit something
not for you,
that
maybe.
If you want to submit something that you know is complete horse shit that you wrote when you were 15 and you want us to hurt your feelings, Louis C.K. style.
Louis C.K., exactly.
We will do that for you. But please don't hurt my feelings about my work. I only want to hear good things and critiques that are useful.
Yes. Okay, wait. I'm ready.
All right. This is The
Story
Muse
time.
by Kayla Ogden. I had an idea last year, but I was drunk at the time. I tapped my keyboard and created a synopsis for my sophomore book series, which I sent to my editor via my agent. That synopsis, along with the wild success of my last trilogy, landed me a new 3-book deal. Now I'd had over 11 months to write the first draft, but the synopsis could not be worked. It was complete crap and bullshit. I had already confessed my disdain for the idea to my agent. He told me not to change it because the editor liked it. My agent was a pussy, and so was I. I was stuck writing a story about a protagonist whose mother was abducted by his ex-girlfriend. Did I want to write from the point of view of a cisgendered straight male? Absolutely not. I was known for my YA romantasy series with LGBTQIA plus characters, who were also mer people. Dark seas, pale fins. My readership would be pissed if I veered too far off genre. Maybe the hero in this new series could be fairy royalty with they, them pronouns? No, that sucked too. I tried calling my mom for the third time that week. She always had the best advice. I left another voicemail. There was a new man in her life I knew. She must have been busy with him. In the vast penthouse suite, with my head on the glossy desk, I wondered, well, what if I summoned the Muse? I'd never done that before, but I knew a lot of artists did. I opened my laptop and navigated to ChatGPT, where I asked how to summon the Muse. It spat out a short prayer and several rituals. Only one of the rituals was doable from my hotel room. A fan had accosted me on the street earlier that day, and in a fit of excitement, she gave me the gift bag she had been carrying, which contained a blood-red artisan candle. I signed her forearm, and I wondered if she'd skip brunch altogether and go directly to a tattoo parlor. Now I silently thanked her as I filled the sink with cold water. I lit the candle and waited until the wax on top turned to liquid. As the earthy cinnamon scent filled the air, I rewrote the prayer ChatGPT gave me in my head. I am a fucking writer after all. And whispered, Muse, I'm here. I'm listening, my dear. My ear is turned up to the night. Sing to me so I can write. I poured the melted wax into the water. It hardened into a strange shape, which I plucked out with my fingers and examined. It was supposed to be a lucky talisman. I cocked my head as I regarded the shape. It looked like a sun with solar flares, but no, it looked like a head with long flowing hair all around. It even seemed to have a delicate neck. I gave it a peck on its smooth face. I strode to my desk and placed the tiny waxen bust beside my computer inside. Maybe the Muse was running late. Wait, no, I was the one running late. I rushed to the theater in downtown San Francisco for my conversation with Ursula Sargent about the last installment of Dark Seas, Pale Fins. The talk went well, and the audience laughed when I dodged questions about my upcoming release with self-deprecating humor. In the lobby, I sat behind a folding table next to a stack of my books. Most people approached shyly, blurting out one of 5 comments I would hear from the rest of the folks in line. I tried very hard not to yawn. So many of the young women there had dyed their hair fire engine red, imitating Elvira, the slightly crazy heroine mermaid of the last 2 books. Some wore unnaturally pale concealer and glitter on their faces. There had been nights like this when the fans would blur into a skin-toned line tapering off around the corner. Other nights were exciting because cool people were in line, people I'd like to be friends with, to make art with, to make out with. And occasionally, there was a big fan. This person would be at the very front or the very end of the line. The person wanted to make an impression on me. Rule number 1 of being a famous author, never fuck the big fan. I had learned that the hard way years ago on a different trip to San Francisco and never made the same mistake again. Tonight, the big fan was at the end of the line. I could feel her nervous, unhinged energy radiating toward me when there were still 10 people obscuring my view. My big fan finally had her turn and stepped up to the table with her paperback clutched in both of her hands like a serving tray. She wore a black sweater with the hood pulled over her head and the string cinched and tied under her chin so that only a circle of her pale face was visible. On her legs was a floor-length silky mint green skirt that covered her toes. I pulled the book from her grip, hunched over the title page, and said, "Thanks for waiting. Who would you like it made out to?" "Me," she shouted. I startled at the volume. "How do you spell your name again?" How many years had it been since that bookstore signing here in SF? I swallowed. It had been 4 years. I glanced up and gave her a tight smile. "I met your mom," she said. "No way." My mother lived in Texas. I checked my watch. I lifted the pen and began to sign the page. Fuck the handwritten note. "Where did you meet her?" "Getting groceries. She didn't see me, though," she said, pulling loose the bow under her chin, sweeping the hood behind her head. Her long, shining copper hair bounced on her shoulders in voluminous swoops. I smelled cinnamon. I kept my face still, even though I could feel my pulse in my lips. I looked down at my chest, willing it not to heave. "You didn't tell her about me?" She bit her fingertip. "Why would I tell my mother about you, Esme?" "Oh, I don't know," she giggled. I slapped the book closed, pushed my chair back, and stood, gaining the height advantage. I handed the book back to her and said, "Thanks. I'll see you around, okay?" Cool. Bye now. I shrugged on my Louis Vuitton backpack and walked toward the event organizer at the bar. I could feel Esme's eyes on the back of my head, or maybe my ass. Anyway, I could tell Esme was just still standing there. A queasy feeling came over me as I turned back. What's up? Can we go for a drink? She asked. No. Get home safe. Can I stay with you? I dropped my chin and looked at her through my brow. We didn't talk on the way up to the penthouse suite. She stared at me in the elevator. I pretended not to notice. She grabbed the empty ice bucket and went straight to the bathroom. Was I meant to follow? She didn't shut the door. I followed. She unzipped the huge black hoodie and let it fall onto the dark tiles of the opulent bathroom, revealing the rest of the silky pale green dress. She turned on the bath, filled the ice bucket with cold water, and handed it to me. She slipped the straps off her shoulders, and her chest was suddenly bare. Her skin was so white it almost glowed. The dress hugged her waist, hips, and thighs, but flared at mid-calf, covering her feet. She laid herself down, right there on the shining black tiles, fanning her hair out all around her head. Slowly, I poured the water on her. She gasped as goosebumps covered her body and her red nipples stiffened. I straddled her and drank the water from every place it pooled. I wanted to die in the shower. This might have been the worst mistake I ever made. I prayed that she'd be gone when I got out. I cinched the robe around my waist and found her at the desk, fidgeting with my little wax talisman. I gazed at the back of her head. She had dried her hair, and in the lamplight, it was the color of fox fur. I thought of foxes, sexy foxes, fox people, hot young adults with tails who lived in intricate underground homes. A headstrong fox girl. She wants to sleep under the sky with a sexual werewolf. A story, a series. She turned to me. Your mom is so funny, you know? I cleared my throat. Okay, how did you even recognize her? At the grocery store, you said? She grinned. I walked toward her. Esme, listen, I know you think you're Elvira, that I based her on you, but even if it were true, it doesn't mean I owe you money. She narrowed her eyes. She went with you to the Morris Award ceremony. What? Who? Your mom. I saw a photo of you with her at the ceremony. That's how I recognized her at the grocery store, silly. I knew the photo. It had been printed in an out and about section of a lesser-known Chicago newspaper a few years ago. It was a 2-page spread with scrapbook-style photos of minor celebrities, local government officials, at holiday events, banquets, and the like. My mom had tried to play it cool, but I saw 3 copies of that paper in her suitcase before she flew home. I glanced around the room for what I didn't know. It felt tighter in here than it had before. I said, whatever, hey, I have a super early morning. 5 a.m. flight, can you believe that? No. Can I call you an Uber? I'll stay up and wait with you until it gets here. The Uber was 5 minutes away. I threw on some sweats, pulled on my boots, and led Esme down the hall to the elevator. I yawned for effect and stared at the Uber app on my phone, which wouldn't work in the elevator anyway. We stood on the sidewalk in silence for a minute, watching a small fleet of scooters speed by on the street. Then Esme said, oh, right, that's what I wanted to tell you. Your mom didn't see me at first, so I went up to her. Anyway, she ended up coming back to the place that I was staying, and guess what? I blinked. I turned squarely to face her. What? I winded in my stance, crossed my arms over my chest, lifted my chin. Try me. Fuck around and find out. A car pulled up to the curb. Is this it? She asked casually. I checked the license plate against her order on the app and opened the back door for her. She climbed in and I shut the door, eager to call my mom to get to the bottom of this. Her window rolled down and she said, I think she really likes it there. She has the basement all to herself, and no one ever goes down there. I'll give her phone back to her when I get home, and you can talk to her, I promise. She must be so bored down there since I've been away. Anyways, I hope you'll reconsider the money. Muses really should be paid, don't you think? I stood, shaking my head as her car pulled away. Without thinking, I stepped onto the street, eyes on my screen that would track her ride. A cyclist swerved around me, cursing at the top of his lungs. I stumbled back onto the curb, dropping my phone in the process. It slipped clean through the metal grate of the gutter, straight between the slats, like a slice of bread in a toaster. I fell to my hands and knees above the sewer and screamed into the darkness as the putrid scent of cinnamon wafted up into my face.
Ooh, baby.
Ooh, baby.
I haven't heard it, or I read it, obviously, back when we did the Reedsy thing. But I haven't heard it since, and I love the edits.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Rachel helped me with the edits. I really, really liked what you suggested.
Oh, good.
There's a whole line that is Rachel's,
Oh, geez.
which is the watching a small fleet of scooters go past. I'm like, that is so San Francisco as well.
It really is.
Yes.
Oh, good old San Francisco and our scooters.
Yes. So that was my Reedsy submission. And now shall we hear from Rachel?
You can hear it from me.
Storytime.
I am going to give one major disclaimer. It's long. It's long.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
We're entertaining them for free.
Sure. For free. It's for free. So you listen. Okay. So this is called An Extra Scoop of Revenge. And this, well, I don't know. I hope you like it. I guess that's it.
What was your prompt?
Oh, my prompt. Thank you. So the prompt for mine was a story of revenge where the protagonist could have chosen forgiveness. Right? I believe that was it.
Yeah,
it was.
but chooses not to.
Yeah, they could have chosen forgiveness, but instead they chose revenge. Okay, here we go. We were best friends. In kindergarten, when we met, we instantly bonded over hanging upside down on the monkey bars. We had what seemed like hours of conversation like this, with the blood rushing to our heads. In 3rd grade, we agreed that talking upside down was when we were the most funny, and that we should live in an upside down world. My hair would dangle in a knotted, curly mess, while Cassie's hair hung in perfect golden tendrils. Her mom took great care of her hair, while my mom never bothered to help me find my brush at all. There was something about our friendship that felt unique. Like we had an unbreakable bond. People often mistook us as sisters, and it was true we looked a lot alike, both with green eyes and blonde curls. The older we got, the more this happened. In high school, someone asked us if we were twins almost every time we went out. Cassie's family had a beautiful home on Cat Hill Drive. They had dinner together every night, playing warm fuzzies and cold pricklies, which was their silly way of sharing about their day. Sometimes, instead of making dinner on Sundays, her mom would serve ice cream sundaes because if they didn't want you to do that, then they would have named it Unday, not Sunday, Kathy would say. I loved her. I wanted her to be my mom. I would sit up at night and wish on stars for her to take me away. Now we are 18. Cassie and I still do everything together. We go to the community college, and we're both working towards getting our ADN so that we can become nurses at St. Bart's up in the city. We've been volunteering as candy stripers, and Cassie drives us there 2 times a week. They have to separate us by floor so that the older patients don't get confused. Apparently, name tags aren't good enough when it comes to telling us apart. I live in a double wide at Golden Gables Estates, which is a fancy name for a shit mobile home park. I live with my parents, but with any luck, not for much longer. My dad is never home. Whatever flavor of the week he's into will take him anywhere but here. My mom has had to work double time since the day I was born to provide for us and serves an extra helping of guilt every time it gets brought up. The older I get, the more it seems like she can barely tolerate my existence. She's never been kind to me. I'm a burden, and she makes that clear. Jess, Cassie calls out from across the school courtyard, walking toward me. We meet every day before class at the fountain in the middle of the school campus. As she reaches me, I hand her the usual, provolone and every veggie under the sun on a soft roll. She's been a vegetarian since 4th grade when we watched the pink slime video. We sit on the ground to eat, backs against the fountain. Did you see that we're going to have a segment in genealogy? I asked, taking a huge bite of my turkey and Swiss. I did. I wonder what Professor Jennings will do. I think I remember him saying that we get to test ourselves. Maybe today we'll get swabbed. I swallow hard, excited to get words out. What if our dreams are real? She cuts me off, finishing my thought and grinning ear to ear. Yes. Or what if we find out something insane, like Carl screwed your mom, I ask, and take a sip of my Snapple. Then I hope your dad was worth it because my dad would flip. Cassie's not kidding. We've seen Mike on a jealous streak. Once, he thought that the swim coach was flirting with Kathy, and we all watched while he pushed Coach Peters into the water. It was hilarious. True, I shrug. What are you doing tonight, she asks. I was thinking of going to pick up an application at the theater. I need a job. I don't want to live at home with Carl and Cynthia anymore. I can't take it. I refer to my parents by their names because that's what they deserve. They don't live up to the title of mom and dad. Oh, smart. Maybe try the ice cream shop next door, too? I think I saw a sign in their window. Cassie glances at her watch and then points to it before wrapping up the rest of her sandwich and tucking it into her bag. Oh, it's time? That felt fast. I wrap up my sandwich and we stand, dusting crumbs from our laps. In class, we did in fact swab our cheeks and discuss the markers that tell us what makes up our genealogy. Each of us will receive comprehensive reports within 3 weeks and then do a project with our results. The 3 weeks were excruciating, but time went faster after I got the job at the ice cream shop. It paid $16 an hour, and I could work as many hours as I wanted. The literal mom and pop shop was owned by the cutest old couple I'd ever seen, and their grandson, Frank Jr., was the only other person who manned the counter. He was cute, 22, and super flirty. I lived for the hours we worked together, and I know it wasn't just the freezer that gave me chills when we scooped rocky roads side by side. Today, I'm working in the shop, but Frank Jr. isn't in the store, so I'm bored out of my mind. I go to the back and grab my bag to pull out my computer. It was Cassie's old laptop that she gave to me once her parents upgraded hers for the school year. I need a triple scoop of Moose Tracks stat. Her voice entered the room before the little door chime had a chance to ring. Hey, Cass. I didn't need to look. I knew her voice. One sec. I came to hang. I've got nothing going on, she yells out at the greater room, waiting for me to come back and taking a seat at a high-top table. I come around the counter and she eyes me up and down. Cute apron. Hey, I like it. It's cute. I look down at my polka dot apron and then push her on the shoulder for making fun. I was about to check my email. I think we're going to get our results back soon. Did you already register with the site and fill out the surveys it wanted us to take? I pull out the stool next to her and flip open the screen. I did. It asked a million questions. She looks around, observing the room. It's so quiet in here. It is. I hope Frankie comes by soon. I want you to meet him. Ooh, Frankie, she pokes me on the boob. Shut up, I smack her hand away and feel my face burst into flames. Oh my God, Jess, you're in love, Cassie screams, and it fuels the fire in my cheeks. Just then, the bell chimes, and we both swivel to see him walking through the door. I freeze, and I swear to God, my heart fell into my butt. Jess? Frank Jr. looks right at Cassie. No, I'm Cassie. Nice to meet you. Cassie bounds towards him and holds out her hand to shake it. Whoa, there's 2 of you? If he was auditioning for a role as dumb surfer number 3 in the next big summer flick, he'd have gotten the part. Sort of. We get that all the time. Jess has told me all about you. Are you working today? I am. After school rush is going to hit in the next hour or so. He points up to the clock and then looks into my eyes, even though he's still talking to Cassie. I came in early to hang out with Jess. I smile and resist the urge to touch my face to feel if it's on fire. And after a moment, finally get the nerve to speak. I'm just going to look at something for school, if that's okay? He shrugs. I'm not your boss. Whatevs. I got to grab my apron. My heart melts as he heads to the back. Jesus, girl, get it together. Cassie sidles up next to me, whispering in my ear and looking over my shoulder as my email loads. I know. I just forgot he was working. Oh my God. I grin at her, and she grins back. We silently do a little dance and then turn back to the computer. Sure enough, the email is here with the genealogy report. I log into the site, and Cassie watches as I click through all the facts about myself. I have the gene for cilantro tasting like soap. Duh. Curly-haired gene? Duh. Hey, I'm like 40% Norwegian. That's cool, I guess, I say facetiously. Look at that little icon. I think that's the relative icon. She points to the corner of my screen where it shows 2 little heads next to each other. I click on it, and a pop-up enters on my screen. You have one close relative registered on this site. Click this button to give permission for them to see your information. How cool. I clicked it immediately. I wonder who it is. I wonder how close a relative. Let me sign into mine. Cassie bumps me out of the way with her hip and promptly signs me out. Frank Jr. comes back into the room just as the door chimes. 2 kids and what looks like their grandma come into the shop. I got it. Frank waves at me and keep doing what I'm doing. I smile at him and mouth, thank you. He smiles back and my heart turns to mush. Look, I have the icon too, Cassie clicks in. You have a close relative registered to this site. Give permission to allow them to see your information, she reads. But before she clicks, she looks at me, and we are wide-eyed. Click it! What the fuck, Cassie? Click it! I'm jumping out of my skin. Hey-yo, Frank says loudly, reminding us that there are customers in the store. I turn around and see the woman shaking her head in disapproval, and she clicks her tongue at me. I'm so sorry. We're just so excited. I don't know what else to say other than the truth. And you get free sprinkles too, Frank chimes, calling her attention back in his direction while scooping sprinkles onto the kids' cones. I turn back to the computer as Cassie clicks the icon. Immediately, my face and my information pop up on the screen. The computer reads, you have a 99% 0.9 chance of being close siblings with Jessica Brighton, sharing 2,750 centimorgans of DNA. Cassie and I are stunned into silence. We haven't said a word for over a minute. The woman and the kids walk out of the store, and Frank walks over to join us. So what's it say? He asks innocently. That we're related, I say slowly. Like 99.9%. That's practically 100%. We're like sister level related. Jess, how? I don't get it. How? I mean, we've joked about this for years, but neither of our parents have said anything. And it's not like we're 50% related. That means it's not just one parent, it's both parents. No wonder you look so much alike. What if your twins separated at birth? Frank jokes. We look at each other. I was born in October and she was born in April. You've seen your birth certificate, right? I ask. I hadn't questioned it when Cynthia told me she had just lost mine. I don't think I have, actually. I mean, I guess I have, but I never really looked at it. Cassie's already pulling up her mom's number and calling. Mom! Kathy didn't even have a chance to say hello before Cassie started in. We just got our genealogy reports back, and I'm 100% sisters with Jess. And what the fuck, Mom? What the fuck? I can hear the sigh through the phone, and then, oh no. A few more deep breaths are audible as Cassie puts it onto speaker. Mom! Okay, girls, you are with Jess right now, right? I'm here, Kathy, I say. Okay, girls, can you come here? I can make us something to eat and we can talk. Yes, we say at the same time, and Cassie hangs up. You can go, I'm good. Frank squeezes my shoulder. Are you okay? Is this a bad thing? Well, I guess our parents have been lying to us our whole lives, like all four of them. I don't get it. I rub my temples and take off my apron, handing it to Frank. Thank you, Frankie. No problem, Jess. Come back later if you want. He dips his head down to find my eyes, and I well with tears. Trying to blink them away, one falls, and he touches my cheek to wipe it away. Thanks, I say quietly and smile. Cassie has my bag in her hand, and we walk out of the shop. Her car is right out front, and before I fully shut the door, she peels out, and we speed towards her house. Not even 10 minutes later, we scrape into the driveway and find that it's not just Kathy's Range Rover in the driveway, but Mike's Jag, too. He must have raced home for this. He's normally at his office. We storm into the house and find them talking quietly at the dining room table. Kathy had put out salami and cheese. Did this seem like a charcuterie moment to her? What the fuck? Cassie lays in, no holds barred. Okay, shit, she exhales, trying to calm herself. Girls, please sit. This isn't what we wanted. She looks at Mike, but he won't look up from the table at any of us. We sat as instructed. You two are sisters. In unison, we take a sharp intake of breath. You're fraternal twins. We had a birth certificate forged for you, Cassie. Jess, oh God, Jess, Cassie, I just don't even know how to say this. Kathy holds her head in her hands and then looks up at Mike, who is still one notch above comatose. Hey, I could at least use your hand here, Mike. She nudges him, and he looks up and then takes her hand, giving it a squeeze before looking back down. We bought you, Cassie. Kathy chokes on her words, desperate to hold back tears. Jess, Cassie, girls, Cynthia was not in great shape when you two were born. She needed money. Your dad, both of your dad, Carl was gambling so much, and Cynthia was desperate. She didn't want to sell both of you. She threatened that if we ever told either of you or the authorities, she'd take you both so far away that we'd never find you. The entire thing was illegal. It's just, we couldn't have our own. And Kathy trails off into sobs. We had no choice but to keep it from you. Mike finally spoke and made eye contact with each of us. She made it clear that if we made one wrong move, we wouldn't see either of you ever again. But we couldn't bear to move away and not see you, Jess. We wanted you in our lives, even if it was just in this way. We knew Cynthia would never be able to move. She'd gotten herself into such a hole. We had the upper hand on that one, Kathy adds. They did. They had all the money and the resources in the world. I had to swallow my resentment. I was the one who lived in a fucking double wide while they had luxury cars and a swimming pool. My thoughts raced as I considered all the times Kathy fed me, knowing Cynthia didn't stock our refrigerator. What I thought were slumber parties were actually their way of keeping me, even if it was just for the weekend. My life has been so horrible with them, I start. Kathy cuts me off. There are so many times we want to just take you and move away, Jess. So many times. Every time we were out and people commented on how much you looked alike, it was like a knife to our hearts. We offered her as much as we could afford to take you both. We wanted you both. She trailed off again. I hate her. I hate her. I hate them, I scream, not at anyone in particular. I was so filled with rage. Why had I been the one she kept? You're an adult now. We can forgive them. We can move on. We didn't tell you. You found out on your own, and you're 18. She can't do anything to us now. Kathy sounds so relieved. She's lived with this burden for so long. You can forgive them all you want, I say, and stand. I always wanted to be yours. I wanted to be in your family. The only good parts of my life have been with you, and now I find out that I could have been, that you wanted me, and she threatened you. I leave my bag and walk toward the front door. Want me to come? Cassie calls out. No, the less people, the better. I leave through the front door and formulate my plan while I run. The trailer park is about 3 miles away as the crow flies, and I have a well-trodden path through a wooded preserve we created when we were kids. I am sure that I'm the only one that uses it, as I often would leave cairns right in the middle of the trail, which are still there, and I kick them over as I pass. I arrive at Golden Gables and circle the perimeter. If I don't go through the front, no one will ever know I'm here. Our trailer is the last one in the back corner of the lot, and I had cut a hole in the fencing when I was 13 for quick escapes. I could see my mom wasn't home. Her old Honda Civic wasn't parked on the grass outside. I go inside and pull out a few belongings I cared about. My school books, a few clothes that I loved, a locket Kathy had given me, and a small teddy bear that Mike and Cassie brought to me in the hospital when I had my appendix out. I put all of my items in my backpack and walked into the kitchen. As though I needed to give this place one last chance to disappoint me, I looked in the cabinets and find them barren, laughing as I think about how perfect that is. Barren is exactly what this place, this life with them, always was. I turn towards the stove, blowing out the pilot lights before turning on every burner. I grab a pack of matches and leave the house. There was a small wood pile in front where Cynthia usually parks, and I take an armful of sticks to use as kindling. I head to the back corner of the trailer where I know I'm invisible, make a little pile of sticks, and ignite it. This corner is at least 20 feet from where the stove is, so I hope I have a minute to get out of Dodge. I take off the same way I came, formulating my plan as I run. I'll go back to work now. There's no official clock in or clock out system, and I'm sure there's no cameras. Hopefully, the after-school rush was busy enough that Frank won't have noticed much time has passed. Clearly, Kathy and Mike aren't above fudging the truth, and I honestly don't think they'll even ask, mostly because they don't want to know. The best part is that Cynthia's reputation around town speaks for itself. No one will believe for a second that she didn't do this to herself to collect insurance. She's a fraud through and through, always has been. I'm safely in the woods by the time I hear the fire take off with a small explosion. 2 minutes later, I hear sirens heading that direction. Walking in the door, the chime sounds. Hey, Frank Jr. looks up and smiles. Thanks for letting me take a break. I walk to his station, pick up my apron that he had left on the counter. He knew I'd be back. No problem, he leans in. You good? I'm great. I scoop myself a cup of double fudge ripple and grab one of the tiny tasting spoons. I take a bite and then scoop another tiny spoonful and hold it up to Frank. He flirtatiously takes it in his mouth, and I lean in to kiss his lips. Yummy, I smile at him. I think this may be the best day of my life. Woohoo, that was it.
That's awesome.
I hope I didn't put everyone to sleep.
No, of course not. I mean, she burns down her mom's trailer.
I mean, she's just like, fuck it.
She's like, fuck you now. Bye.
I've never written from a teenager's perspective, so that was kind of fun.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it.
On the back of my paper here, it was distracting me because I could see through it. And I had written, my biggest mistake is always, I'll remember to tell her that.
What does that mean?
It means that I always have so many things I want to talk to you about, but then I don't write them down.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
Maybe that should be a prompt.
But then what's this scribble? Is that the thing you wanted to tell me?
No. I don't know what that is.
My biggest mistake is always __. I'll remember to tell her that. Oh, you're so cute.
Okay.
So we have something. This is so exciting to me that this person actually called our number and recorded her poem. Or is it?
I think it's a poem. She's a poet.
Oh, I was asking about her pronouns. So she's
actually, I haven't listened to it yet.
Oh, so you don't know how they like introduce themselves?
I don't know how they introduce
Okay, so
themselves.
we don't know.
Yeah.
But you know them, right, from school?
I do know this person from school, and I feel like we should cut everything about pronouns.
Oh, okay, sure. It's too awkward.
Yeah.
You can say stuff
she's
that
a girl.
I cut. Okay, so she's a girl. She's just obviously a girl. Well, you've called her they a few times.
Yeah, I have. Why have I done that? Okay. Well, okay.
Maybe just as a way of speaking that was normal
With the
before.
times.
Yeah, or I don't know, whatever. Fuck.
I'm so PC. Okay. Yes, I know this person from school, and I'm gonna let them introduce themselves.
Okay.
That's that.
Let her.
Okay, let me pull it up here. And make sure my phone's not as loud as it can go.
You're like, Kayla, she's just a girl. Okay, sorry.
Hi, my name is MJ, and I'm here to leave a little poem for you guys. This one is called Clouds, and I wrote it a little while ago. But yeah, I like when the clouds look like a cheetah print, as if they think the sky is a safari and they can run through it. I like when ripples in the pond look like a figure eight, as if they are trying to escape the tides they make. I like pine tree needles that are especially sharp, as if they want to poke you for daring to look at them. I like when ribbons don't tie properly, as if they don't want to knot or get too caught up. I like when bushes are taller than me, because at that point they're basically just trees. I like when people are beautiful once you get to know them, because beauty is something you have to discover. I like when boys wear skirts and girls wear pants. I think it anatomically just makes more sense. I like when the hero dies and the villain wins, just because it's a rare occurrence. I like roller coasters that make you think you're going to die, because it's the only time screaming like that is socially acceptable. I like when clouds look like a painting. They think they're just so much more artistic than the rest of us. I like when blue is mixed with red, so it makes purple. Purple is just so much prettier than blue. I like when people speak out about things that most stay silent on. Just makes you a good person, I think. I like unraveling the president's lies like a loose thread in a sweater. It helps me sleep better at night. I like clouds that are gray and heavy, because I can relate. Thank you.
Oh, I loved that.
Oh my gosh. Wow, thank you so much, MJ.
Seriously, I love that poem.
I love the part about the clouds looking like a cheetah print, and I love the part about enjoying unraveling the president's lies.
Yeah, well, that fucker's a liar.
No kings. No kings. No kings.
No kings. I like when bushes are taller.
That's so sweet. Is she short?
I don't think she's, I mean, like my height, I don't think I'm like very average.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'5".
Okay, yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah. I feel like average. I think MJ's average height. Okay, so MJ is in my class and is a wonderful poet. And I have heard her read her poetry before, and it's fantastic. And she has actually given me permission to share some other stuff, which I'll do in the future, because her stuff is fantastic and worth listening to. And if you ever have a chance to read it when she's most definitely going to be published, you should do it.
Yes. So do you think that when she's published, she's going to go by MJ?
I believe that's the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much, MJ. I'm going to listen to that again a couple of times. And I like the way that you delivered it with so much passion. So I'm looking forward to hearing the next poem about Elon Musk.
Oh, yes. Her poem about Elon is badass.
Okay, so we're going to put that in another Storytime episode.
That definitely needs to go up. Okay, so I'm going to just throw something at you guys. The Flamingo Poem.
Yeah.
It's happening. I'm a little embarrassed.
We talked about this in episode 2.
Oh.
Where we were talking about how Rachel doesn't like poetry just because she thinks that it's too vulnerable. And
I'm coming around, though. I'm coming around with a friend like MJ.
oh my God.
I mean, it's like fantastic. So I have to.
And I mean, a poem like MJ's, Clouds, it doesn't feel, I don't know, it's interesting and fun to listen to and pick up on all the ideas. But it's not the kind of thing where you feel like she's scraping your heart out of your vagina or something. You know?
Sure.
In the way that you said that you don't like how it's so vulnerable.
Although she did read one
do
poem
poetry.
in class once that was like very vulnerable, and it was also incredible. And that was, I think, one of the first ones that got read in class.
Oh, wow. She did a really vulnerable one right
Out the gate. And it was really incredible. And I remember thinking, like, sitting there, she was across the room from me, and thinking, like, if she can do that, then, like, I'm just a huge fucking pussy if I can't read. Like, that was amazing. And get your head out of your ass, girl. You know, to myself.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So then you wrote this thing about the flamingo.
And then I tore shit up and wrote this flamingo poem. And here we go. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Oh, they're going to be sick of hearing me. Okay. I've called it the fearsome flamboyance. Because as you know, a group of flamingos is called a flamboyance.
As it should be.
Yes. We watch them at the zoo, endure the stench of the enclosure. I read the information about how these creatures exist in the world. My daughter grabs at my body, climbing me to get higher, higher, higher. She wants to look over the rail and absorb the deep magenta and the feminine elegance that she believes is just out of reach. Those legs, like toothpicks. Strange backward knobby knees. No, they're ankles. Deceiving and odd. Why do they sleep like that, Mama? On just one leg? To regulate temperature, to stay balanced, to quicken their movements. They watch us, just as we watch them, mouths agape and ready to flee. That neck, slender and sleek, the length of which seems superfluous at best. 19 elongated vertebrae inside. All I can see is this plague mask used for reaping small creatures from the muck. This delicate body illuminated against the scenery, a flamboyant highlighter amongst mud and grass. Each pink shrimp consumed enhances its brilliance, a killer wearing its prey, flaunting it with a bright and exquisite persona. The brighter the bird, the more aggressive. I see that deep black under each wing, the strongest feathers, the ones only shown when provoked, hidden strength and unpredictability. Not foul, but phonic. I never thought I'd have to say this word out loud.
Oh, no.
Not foul, but phonicapaturnidae. I don't know how to say that for real. Please don't even cut that part. I feel like it's important. Not foul, but phonicapaturnidae.
Phonicapaturnidae. No, that can't be it.
Foul, nonetheless. Okay. Start it. Let me read that last bit again. Hidden strength and unpredictability. Not foul, but phonicapaturnidae. Foul, nonetheless. I squeeze her tighter, my sweet small girl. She reaches for these creatures, a moth to a hot pink flame. One small move in our direction, and I would kick out those stupid legs and break that long neck, push away its thick, strong beak, rip off each ridiculous limb one by one. What wouldn't I do to protect her?
Oh, my gosh. Oh, shit. I wasn't recording.
Oh,
No, I mean, we were recording on here, just not that.
That was it.
That was good.
Thanks.
Yeah. Did you go to, okay, what am I trying to ask? I'm trying to ask if, you went to the zoo and took a picture of the sign or something, because you know a lot of stuff about the flamingos. Or did you sort of do a little research for
I
your
did a
poem?
little research for the poem. Yeah, so the assignment in class, this was one of our assignments, was to make a poem about an animal, and it could not be a pet. It had to be some animal out there in the world, and I chose a flamingo. And my professor actually made jokes that he was like, oh, Miami, palm leaves, flamingos, it's gonna be great. And I remember thinking to myself, just you wait.
Just you wait, yes.
Okay, so enough of storytelling.
Storytime. Yeah, that was another Storytime episode, and we'll sign off here in a sec. But I have something that I want to discuss with you, Rachel.
Okay.
I forwarded you a newsletter. Did you have a chance to read it?
Oh my God, no.
Oh my God, you
Wait.
didn't read it?
I think I did. Wait.
It was the Chuck Palahniuk one.
Well, I feel like I did.
Okay, it's okay because I'm going to explain it to you
Okay.
and to the people who are listening.
Okay.
We need like a name for the people listening, like how singers have stupid names for all their fans, like Beliebers and Little Monsters and stuff.
Hardee's?
Hardee's? Aw. Little Hardee's.
That's so
Are they
silly.
going to like that?
I don't know.
Okay, Hardee's.
Call in and let us know what you think.
Yeah, maybe I heard that Taylor Swift's, not to bring Taylor Swift up on the podcast for the third time, but I heard that her fans name themselves. Like, I think that everybody else's fans, it's like there's a marketing team that comes up with it, but her fans, they were the first ones to do it. What are they called? Oh, Swifties.
Well, good for them.
Okay, Hardee's. So, do you guys know Chuck Palahniuk? He was the author of Fight Club and 19 other novels.
Oh, yeah, I remember this now.
Oh, yeah. Did you read Fight Club or any of his books?
I haven't, no.
Okay.
But I've listened to interviews with him and I like him.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. Okay, cool. Yeah, okay. So his newsletter is called Plot Twist. And he... Fucking, I wrote all this out so that I could say this on here. One sec. July, cheater style. Okay. I'm just gonna clap. So Chuck Palahniuk, he has a newsletter called Plot Twists that I subscribe to, and I read it sometimes. It's awesome. It's a really great resource. And I didn't read Fight Club, but I loved the film. And I read another book of his called Snuff when I was a teenager, and it was so dark and crazy. It is about snuff, like films. And yeah, that was really good, but I'd like to read more of his work, and I like his newsletter. So anyways, on June 17th, he had an issue of the newsletter called A Cheater's Thrill. And basically he's giving writing advice, and he was talking about how if you write when you're not supposed to write, it can give you like a little thrill, and it can bring that thrill into your writing, like a prisoner in a gulag writing on toilet paper or something.
Okay.
Yeah, I really hacked that, Kayla. So in the middle section of this newsletter, he talks about writing about your secrets.
Ooh.
And he gives examples from like a lot of famous people who wrote works but then never confirmed if it was like true or what it was based on. Mm-hmm. So like Shirley Jackson's short story The Lottery. Have you read that one?
I have.
Oh, you have? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So like Shirley Jackson's The Lottery, which was a bit of a precursor like to the Hunger Games. A lot of people thought, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people thought that her story where townspeople are sort of chosen to be brutally murdered, that it was based on the draft, like for the war, but she never confirmed or denied it. Basically what Chuck was saying in this email was like, you should write your secrets. And there was one, there was another example. So Stephen King, he has a story called The Body, and it's believed to be about a childhood event where King went to play with a close friend, and when he came home, he was like stunned, and the friend was later found to have been killed by a train on the railroad tracks nearby. Oh. And so whether or not Stephen King saw his friend killed or whatever, decades later he wrote about the experience. He never confirmed or denied that. So that's pretty sweet. And so I thought it might be really fun. Okay, so here's the second part of this. Chuck Palahniuk has a storytelling night.
Didn't Stephen King write Stand By Me, which is about the group of kids who find the body on the train tracks?
Oh, maybe Stand By Me was based on the story The Body or something. Is Stand By Me a book too?
Yeah, it was a book written by Stephen King that got made into that movie.
That's so crazy that he went out and played with his friends. And then when he came back, he was all like fucked up. And then they found the friend dead on the train tracks. Stephen.
Poor
Stephen
Stevie.
King.
Little Stevie King.
Guy. Yeah, I don't know if Chuck has confirmed this, or maybe he said this in an interview, but with Fight Club, it said that he was on a camping trip and he went over to another campsite nearby and he was telling them to keep it down, keep down the noise on their radio, and they beat him up, like those people. And then when he returned to work, he was like really struck by how nobody would mention or acknowledge his injuries. And they would just like, he was all fucked up from getting his ass kicked. And people were just like, oh, how was your weekend? You know, like, you know, if you see somebody has like a shiner and like a cut lip or whatever, like, do you go, hey, what happened? I feel like I would, but maybe it's not really, maybe not a lot of people would.
Yesterday, I was sitting in a cafe writing for like a few hours, and my server, I think she had a black eye. And it really bummed me out. And I was looking at it, and it was like really bummed me out while I was sitting there. But I didn't say anything.
Yeah. I mean, to your server.
Right?
Like if it was.
Oh, like a coworker? Like if you came here today and you had a shiner, I definitely would say something.
Yes. Yeah. Or a coworker. Like, but I guess,
so.
I don't know. Normies are so restrained.
Normies. Okay. So what's our assignment here? What are we doing?
Right.
What's Chuck got in store for us?
All right. So he has this thing, this night in Portland that's called the Slush Pile. I don't know when the next one is or how to figure that out, but I know that one of them was on a Wednesday night, and they're from like 6:30 to 9:30 at this bar or restaurant or something. And I was thinking we could both write a story about our secrets.
Ooh.
Like a story about something that we would never want anyone to know that we thought or felt or did or let someone do to us. And then we go to Oregon.
We just go to Oregon.
Yeah.
Take the show on the road.
Yes, take the show on the road. We get in our vehicle. We do a road trip, or we take a nice flight.
Great. First class, baby.
Yeah.
First class to Chuck.
The first class all the way to Chucky. And we read our thing in front of strangers and
never confirm or deny.
Never confirm or deny. And only we know each other's deepest, darkest secret. And then we can hold it over each other's heads for the rest of our lives.
Oh, wow. That's a really fun idea.
Do you think? I don't think Portland's that far from here.
It's really not. It's the same as flying to San Diego distance-wise, I think.
Yeah, so we could let Chuck know that we're coming too. We could be like, we have this podcast and we're going to come.
Chuck, hey, we're coming.
But as far as posting the stories on the podcast, I think probably not. If we
obviously
do
not.
The assignment.
But we definitely not wanting to share my deepest, darkest secrets.
Unless we put it behind a paywall or something.
Oh, ooh, look at you. You're ready to share.
But probably not. I don't know. I don't even know what my secret is going to be. Like, I know I have some, but I'll have to
maybe we'll
really
just
dig.
throw them into a story time someday and never acknowledge that was the actual secret one.
Oh my gosh, that is such a good idea.
Diabolical.
Okay, so one day they will pop up in our story times, but you'll never know that it was real.
Mm-hmm. I'm into it.
Wowie zowie. This is getting so deep, so dark, so good. Okay, so that's I think that's like our homework.
I think so. Okay. Deep, dark secrets on the paper. Okay. Well, I do have to say that that is definitely fun. I'm at a...
She doesn't want to go.
No, I definitely want to go. I definitely do. So I'm now at like 48,000 words on my dinner for 8.
Wow, that's so much.
I'm trying to figure out how to end this puppy.
Ooh.
And
you don't want to work on something else right now.
I'm a little nervous to work on something else right now.
It doesn't have to be right now at all. Like, it can be in September or something.
Okay.
You know, once your first draft is done.
Yeah, right.
Or maybe you'll need a break from working on that. And
I think it will be good for me to, once I finish a draft, pause and step away and then come back to it.
That's like the advice that Stephen King actually gives in his book on
Stevie,
writing.
yeah.
He says, put it in a drawer, and he says the longer you can stay away from it, the better. For me, I always felt like, oh, I have to get it done because I have to get it published and I have to blah, blah, blah. But now I've realized, like, it takes so long to get something published anyways.
Right.
Like, you might as well just take the time you need to
Oh, yeah, for sure.
do the best you can do.
Quality over quantity or speed or whatever.
So one day we may go to Portland and do this once Rachel has like the creative energy and the time to
I
write
feel
down
like
her
it's a
deepest,
great
darkest
goal to
secret.
have by the end of the year. And I love this. And I love that Chuck is doing that.
Yeah, isn't
Very
that
fun.
great?
Yeah.
He just lets people get up and read their stories, and he like attends, and yeah,
Cool.
he seems really awesome. I want to meet Chuck.
I mean, his social commentary is fantastic.
He's fantastic.
He's fantastic.
We love you, Chuck.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was story time. We hope that you enjoyed our stories, and we'll be back at you next Wednesday.
See ya.